Yo, Jared, what's up? Welcome to the Be Smart podcast, everyone. Big day today. We're recording this on January 20th, 2025. MLK Jr. Day, Inauguration Day. Got the college football championship game tonight. Let's start with the college football championship. Who you got tonight?
I'm with the consensus here. I think Ohio State's going to win.
I honestly thought you were going to say Notre Dame, just being the contrarian you are.
No, my brother lives in Ohio, like pretty close to Columbus. So I'm kind of a de facto Ohio State fan. They wanted Ryan Day's head when he lost to Michigan, which was a terrible Michigan team. Like that was a terrible loss. But I think the Ohio State fans will forgive him if he brings home a national championship.
Let's get in a couple market headlines, and then we'll get into the inauguration stuff because there's a ton of stuff to discuss. So, first headline from Bloomberg: TikTok return draws scrutiny of Trump's reach, Beijing's stance. Donald Trump pledged to delay enforcement of a national security law that threatened to ban TikTok. Yet it's not clear whether the app's Chinese parent is able or willing to secure a U.S. backer in time to avoid a permanent shutdown. Most immediate is the question of whether such an extension would be legal after the ban kicked in on Sunday. Over the weekend, Trump declared he will not let TikTok stay dark, promising to sign an executive order granting another 90 days for TikTok to find a U.S. backer and diffuse national security concerns. He also proposed a joint venture under which American owners would purchase 50% of the company. This is wild, what's been going down with TikTok. What do you make of this entire stunt?
Well, first of all, do you have TikTok?
Hell no.
All right, I don't have TikTok either. No, I don't want my biometrics, my thumbprint, and my facial recognition to go to the Chinese Communist Party. Like, I don't. Like, it is a spy app. It is a Chinese spy app. One of the things that, I have a whole bunch of reasons why I hate TikTok, but you know what the biggest one is TikTok stars getting book deals. That pisses me off. As somebody who writes books, people with no literary talent whatsoever, they have 1 million followers on TikTok, they get a book deal, the book sucks, it bombs, everybody knew it was going to bomb, and they continue to get book deals. It is the dumbest thing of all time.
Do you think Trump even has the authority to keep TikTok from going dark now that this law has been passed?
I guess he does. What I don't understand is Trump's motivation for keeping it alive. You know what I mean? But because I'm sure this has been explained to him on some level by national security people, like how this app is being used to undermine democracy in the US. I'm sure it's been explained to him. So I don't know if he wants to be like Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Popular, keep everybody happy. I don't know where this is coming from. But also, ByteDance had the ability to divest this thing and get $60 billion. Facebook buys it, Google buys it, whoever, they would get $60 billion. And they instead would rather let it fail. They would rather let it dark than go $60 billion. Either that is totally irrational behavior or it is a Chinese spy app. Those are the two there's no other possibilities. Because otherwise you would say, oh, well, and you would take the $60 billion and you would sell it, so that's the thing.
It's a really weird situation with that. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but let's move to the next one. Trump's volatile new meme coin sucks flows, saps wider crypto market. A digital token debuted by Donald Trump has rattled the crypto market, attracting billions of dollars of trading volume while stoking concerns about conflicts of interest. Is Trump even trying to hide the grift on this at this point? This is crazy to me.
The one thing you have to understand here, and I actually tweeted about this last night, and Trump is capable of very good things and he's capable of doing very stupid things. And this is really, really a bad idea. I was watching it, and then the Melania coin came out. And then when that came out, then the Trump coin crashed by 40%. I read a story about some high school kid that I don't know where he got $1 million, but he bought $1 million worth of Trump coin and turned it into $120 million. this the bigger implications here. I'm not as concerned about the grift, but this to me is like late cycle apocalypse now. Like this, this is the end of times, right? This is the end of the bull market. When people are making money all out of proportion to their intelligence and work ethic on a meme coin about Trump right before the inauguration, right when the stock market is at its highs.
Between this and the Haktua coin, it's an absolute joke.
You heard what happened with her, right? So she made like 50 million bucks off of that, and then she just freaking disappeared. She stopped doing podcasts. Like she just disappeared. She just took the money and ran.
All right, let's go to our main topics. I want to start with Scott Besson at the Senate confirmation hearing for Treasury Secretary. Some highlights of this include Besson said Trump policies won't cause inflation. He said fiscal spending is out of control. He said heavier Russia sanctions are on the way. He emphasized that Trump said Social Security would not be touched. Besson said he believes the Fed should remain independent, and he also dismissed the idea of a U.S. digital currency. Pick your poison here. What stood out to you with the confirmation hearing with Besson?
I think that stood out to me isn't really like the things that Besson said. It's the questions that were not asked by the Senate Finance Committee. Like, what is your opinion on the valuation of the dollar? Right? Like, how are you going to term out the debt to longer maturities? Like, these are questions that should have been asked that were not asked. I didn't see where he commented on Fed independence. I mean, obviously he would say that they're going to respect Fed independence, but I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all. And in terms of, Trump's policies not being inflationary, I think if you manage to bring down government spending significantly, then it's less inflationary, but tariffs are inflationary. A lot of the things he does are inflationary. Like, I would say, on balance, Trump is inflationary. Besant is from the Myrtle Beach area. He's from a town called Conway, which is a little bit inland from Myrtle Beach. And I mean, this is a guy who was CIO of Soros Fund Management, is one of the best, FX and rates traders in the world. I don't know what his net worth is. It's got to be at least $500 million, And the crazy thing is that here in the Myrtle Beach area, nobody knows this. Nobody knows that Scott Besson is from here. None of the local news outlets have done a piece on him. I mean, this is local boy done good. This is the Treasury Secretary. Nobody around here knows this. It is wild. They have not talked about him at all.
Did you watch the inauguration earlier?
I did.
I want to kind of talk about some additional changes to expect with the new administration and how they're going to impact markets. I'll start with this Wall Street Journal article I saw. The stock rally is back on track, but memories of 2022 linger. Investors worry the heavy tariffs and mass deportations that Trump has proposed will reaccelerate inflation. How are you feeling about stocks right now, bonds?
I feel terrible about stocks, but we've rallied a bit in the last couple of weeks. It's kind of testing my thesis. I'll go back to what I said before. I mean, this looks a lot like Reagan in 1981. I don't know. I am very worried about the markets. In terms of, I do want to kind of poke a hole in this, deportations causing inflation thing. Economically, this makes sense because if you have all these low wage workers and you deport them and you replace them with high wage workers, then costs go up. I understand how that works. I don't think Trump is going to deport enough people to really make a difference in terms of inflation. If he deports 50,000 people, I would be surprised. And the people he's going to deport are not people that are working anyway. I mean, they are truly criminals. So I don't think the anti-immigration stuff has I don't think it has an economic impact at all. You can argue about whether it's a good thing or a bad thing or right or wrong, but in terms of economic impact, I don't think it's worth talking about.
And how are you feeling about the state of bonds right now? I know they've been off to a kind of a rocky start here.
Yeah, I'm kind of neutral here. So the yield on the long bond touched 5% and then collapsed. Bonds rallied, and I think long bonds are like 483. You've had a pretty good rally in bonds. I kind of think they haven't put in the yields haven't put in the all-time highs yet. I think they have a little bit further to go. I don't have a position, so no strong opinions here.
What else stood out to you with the inauguration? I mean, were you surprised by anything? How you feeling about the tariffs? How sweeping do you think they'll be? It seems like they're going to kind of be trickled out a little more methodically than a lot of people thought.
It was funny because I was watching the dollar. I was watching FX during the inauguration speech, and the dollar had already sold off a lot on the day because there was a Wall Street Journal article talking about how Trump was not going to implement the tariffs immediately, right? So, this morning, the dollar was down a little less than 1%. And then during the inauguration, the dollar started to rip. As soon as he mentioned tariffs, the dollar ripped. But then he didn't provide any details and it sold off. And then he finished his speech and didn't say anything else about tariffs and it just collapsed. So, the FX markets are 100% focused on tariffs. That's all they care about is tariffs. And the thing that I've been saying all along with the dollar and with tariffs is that Trump was never going to do 25% across the board tariffs. He was never going to do that. It was going to be targeted tariffs. It was going to be small. It was going to be something less. And it's starting to look like that's the case.
Not much for the week ahead. I mean, there's some earnings and stuff, but we don't really get into earnings here. Anything else you're looking at this week? I mean, we're going to learn a lot in the coming days with Trump's executive orders. So
we have a big snowstorm coming this week. I mean, it snows in Myrtle Beach like once every 20 years, and we're supposed to get like 3 inches, and it is going to be a disaster. Like everything is going to be shut down for like 2 or 3 days. So it makes me happy that I'm no longer commuting to work. Like I work out of my house. I'm going to be totally fine.
South Florida, of course, is like 60 degrees and people are losing their minds. So we're like sitting this one out. Everywhere else in the country is just getting like slammed by cold weather. Did you pick up Infinite Jest? I saw you wrote about this.
Yeah, so I got it delivered. I haven't cracked into it yet. I have like 4 or 5 other books I got to read. I really gotta dive into that at a point where I don't have a lot on my plate. It's going to take me like 2 months to get through it.
I'm going to send you some annotations and stuff that'll kind of help you go through it. That really helped me because I mean, David Foster Wallace like makes up words, he uses these obscure pharmaceutical references throughout. It kind of helps. So I'll send that your way.
That book has to be like 800,000 words. It's unbelievable. How long did it take him to write that?
I want to say he wrote it between 94 and 96, something like that.
That's pretty fast for a book that size.
Yeah. I'm reading The Pale King right now. I've kind of slowed down on it. I need to pick it back up, but classic David Foster Wallace.
I read an article about, I guess there was some PhD somewhere that did research, like got the ebook data from Amazon and did research on which books were the most unfinished, like which ones people never finished. And Infinite Jest is number 1 on the list.
I'm not surprised at all. Probably that and like House of Leaves, which I've never read.
Yeah.
I think that covers it for this week. Jared, I'll talk to you here soon and later.
All right. See you.